Are you ready to take it to a new level?
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's get fired up. Can we do something cheesy real quick? All right, everybody just grab a partner, grab your partner by the hand, and everybody just connect in the room. Yes. We have to develop the kind of culture that embodies family, don't we? In order to succeed. And just feel, get a little woo-woo with me for a minute, and just feel the energy surging through you all. You feel that? Cool. So the key is, guys, we got to have some tools to be able to manage our emotional and our energetic state consistently throughout the day. There's a time frame, and it's usually within 45 minutes to about an hour and 15 minutes is when our energy starts waning. And do you ever notice that? Like you're working away, you're working on high priority tasks, and all of a sudden your energy starts to wane, you get a little tired. That's when you need to step up and apply some of the tools that we'll go over. We've got high energy and we're operating at those high levels of joy. Do you ever blow your own mind of what you say? You say something like, oh man, that was brilliant. Anybody? And we've all had those moments, right? But those moments don't happen when we're upset, right? Those moments don't happen when we're stressed out. Those moments happen when we're operating at high emotional and high energetic states. And here's the activity to energy ratio. So the more energy you have during the day, the more likely you are to go after those high priority tasks. And remember, everything that we do physiologically communicates something to our brain. So if we're breathing shallowly, what are we communicating to our brain based on that breathing pattern? We're asleep or anxiety, exactly. It's a fight or flight pattern. So remember this, 20% of your activities, of your tasks, will produce fully 80% of your results in that day. Those are your whales. And if you know what those are, and you time block those, and you do them consistently, you're gonna be more productive than everybody else on your team. And you're gonna move the whole mission forward, you're gonna move the whole company forward by doing that. The famous philosopher Mike Tyson once said, he said, everyone has a plan until you get punched. One of the wisest words that come out of his mouth. But it's true, things are gonna happen, and one of the keys is we gotta stay flexible. So for example, there's a grocery store clerk and he's stacking the shelves with groceries, right? And he's sitting there and he's just doing his thing, and all of a sudden this customer comes in and he says, excuse me, sir, I'd like to buy a half a head of lettuce. And this store clerk is kind of thinking, he's like, well sir, we don't sell half heads of lettuce. And he keeps stocking. And the customer says, well, surely, I'm sure you can find a way to sell me a half a head of lettuce. I don't need the whole thing, just half. And the store clerk kind of annoyed. He's like, okay, let me go ask my boss. So he walks over and walks into his boss's office and he says, hey boss, some idiot out here wants to buy a half a head of lettuce. And out of the corner of his eye, he realized that the customer had followed him into the room. And thinking quickly on his feet, he said, and this fine gentleman, he'd like the other half. Complexity is the enemy of execution. Complexity is the enemy of execution. The more complex we make something, the less likely we are to follow through and do that thing. Our brain works in chunks, and if we avoid doing any task or any activity, it's only because of one or two reasons. One, it's either chunked too big, and how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, that's it. But the thing is, if something's chunked too big, we're going to put it on the shelf and we're going to do something called procrastinate. Anybody procrastinate? Yeah. The rest of you waiting to raise your hand? So the other reason why is because it's chunked in way too many details. We've got to manage our distractions, guys. If we don't manage our distractions, they're going to manage us. All right, so we got to get clear on number one, what they are, and then put in some solutions to remedy them. Roger Bannister is most famous for breaking the 4-minute mile. And along the way, this record stood for decades and nobody could break it. It went, 4 minutes and 1 second and people just simply couldn't break it. But Roger Bannister decided one day that I'm gonna envision this possibility. I'm gonna envision myself internally. I'm gonna see myself breaking this record and crossing the finish line under 4 minutes. And then he'd go out and he'd practice every single day, every single day, every single day. And one day on May 4th of 1954, he steps up to the starting line. Everybody give me a gun noise, ready? That's good. Lap 1, lap 2, lap 3, lap 4. He crosses the finish line at 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds, and he astonished everybody except for who? Except for himself, because he knew he could do it. He saw it first.